There was once a woman named Djemima, who had everything a heart could desire, a loyal husband, Richard, who loved her deeply and sacrificed all he had to make her happy. He worked tirelessly, often late into the night, not for wealth or luxury, but to ensure their home was safe, warm, and filled with love. Yet despite his unwavering devotion, Djemima had grown cold. Perhaps it was boredom, perhaps a selfish hunger for attention, or perhaps something far darker whispering in the shadows of her heart. She began to test the edges of betrayal, not in body, but in spirit. Small cruelties crept into her words, stinging sarcasm, bitter remarks designed to wound. She would speak to other men late into the night, sharing secrets and laughter that no longer belonged to Richard. She ignored his quiet pain, the sadness in his eyes, as though his suffering fed something restless inside her. And then, one fateful night, after a particularly cruel argument where she had mocked his sacrifices, Richard left the house in silence. Rain poured heavily, blurring the streetlights as he disappeared into the dark, but he never came home. Days turned into weeks. The authorities found nothing. The world whispered theories, an accident, foul play, but deep in her heart, Djemima knew. She had broken him. Her words had cut too deeply, her selfishness had poisoned the love they once shared. Yet guilt alone was not what followed her. Something far worse was stirring, the arrival of the voodoo priest. It began with shadows that moved when they shouldn't. The old mirror in their bedroom, where Richard's reflection once stood beside hers, now felt haunted, darkened. She saw her face twist in its glass, lips curling in silent scorn, eyes black and hollow. Then came the dreams. Night after night, Djemima saw a figure cloaked in tattered robes, his face veiled, but his eyes burning like red coals beneath the shadows. He spoke not with words, but with a presence. An ancient force pressing down on her chest, filling her lungs with the taste of soil and decay. Until one night he spoke. "You have cursed yourself, child," the voice rasped, deep as the roots of the earth. "But I am here to finish what you began." She woke screaming, and there he was. The voodoo priest stood in the corner of her room, impossibly tall, the scent of damp earth and burning herbs curling from his skin. A mask of woven bones covered his face, but his eyes, piercing endless blackness, burned into her soul. "You took for granted what was pure," he whispered, voice echoing as though spoken from the grave. "You hurt a man who loved you, tore his heart for your own desires. Now you will suffer." Djemima begged for forgiveness, but the priest shook his head. "It is not me who condemns you. It is the spirits who have watched your cruelty. The pain you caused has summoned Legba, and he has spoken." He reached into the folds of his robe, producing a small clay figure, her likeness, crafted from ash and bone, wrapped in blackened string. As he gripped the figure, Djemima felt her chest tighten, as though invisible hands were clutching her heart. "You will speak no lies, for your tongue will burn with truth. You will seek love, but never find it, for you threw it away. You will cry for mercy, but the shadows will answer, and they do not forgive." With those words, he snapped the figure's head, and she woke. The curse takes hold. At first, she believed it was only a nightmare, until she tried to lie. The next day, speaking to a coworker, she felt the heat surge in her throat the moment she spoke words untrue. The lie twisted into a burning sensation, her voice catching, choking, and when she attempted to speak words of cruelty, nothing came out. Silence. But that was not the worst of it. Each night, the shadows whispered to her. The mirror no longer showed her face, but distorted, withering versions of herself. In every reflection, she saw Richard, standing behind her, his face pale, eyes hollow with the pain she had caused. And every time she reached out to touch his face, he faded, leaving only her own monstrous reflection behind. She tried to seek comfort in strangers, those same men she once entertained to boost her ego. But no warmth came from them. Their words felt shallow, their touches cold. Nothing could replace what she had lost. Worse still, her body began to ache, not from sickness, but from something deeper, like her very soul was unraveling. The curse was working through her, piece by piece, devouring her from the inside, until she broke. The confrontation. On the final night, Djemima returned home, a hollow version of herself. Rain lashed against the windows, the storm mirroring the turmoil within.